Dr. Bob Graykowski, your peak performance doctor and developer of the Better Brain Blueprint. I was working with a patient the other day and we were preparing for our Better Brain Blueprint series that we teach at our office. And I was asking her, so what do you do for your overall brain health? And she looked up at me kind of puzzled and said, well, what can you do? There is nothing you can do, is there? Which shocked me. And so many people have no idea the types of foods that they eat on a daily basis, how they're moving their body, and how they're thinking, how it affects their overall brain health. So this series in the Better Brain Blueprint will teach you a little bit more about eating better, thinking better, and moving better for a better brain. So UCLA study in 2012 said that the most harmful and toxic food that we do eat on a regular basis is high fructose corn syrup. So basically, high fructose corn syrup is used as a preservative, it's used as a sweetener, and it's creating a tremendous amount of health problems in our society. It's found in soft drinks, cakes, cookies, chips, almost anything that's in a bag or a bottle or a can has high fructose corn syrup. The challenge is this spikes our insulin level in our body and we become insulin resistant, so it's leading to an epidemic problem with diabetes. I see little kids that are running around with belly fat. So when we have this high amount of sugar in our body and our body can't handle it, it stores it as yellow fat in the abdomen. So belly fat is very toxic for not only our body, our brain, our heart, but it creates a whole host of other health problems. So this high fructose corn syrup is causing a lot of the cells in our body to become insulin resistant. So this is circulating and more people are being put on insulin. That is not a good thing. Insulin is a normal hormone made by the body to put sugar into the cells, but when we are dumping this much amount of high concentrated fructose into our body, it creates a whole host of health problems. Another toxic chemical are trans fats. Now this is becoming more popular. The challenge is there's a lot of different ways that we can hide this. So anything that is hydrogenated, partially hydrogenated, soybean oil, all these things are actually trans fats. And so there are good fats and there are bad fats. We actually need fat in our body. Our brain is more than 60% fat, and if we cut the fat consumption in our body, it affects our overall brain health. The other problem that we look at is artificial sweeteners. So we think that we're actually doing a diet drink. So aspartame or equal or these hidden sugars are actually proteins that are changed into a sugar as a sweetener. This is highly toxic. These are excitotoxins that affect the brain. And these three things, so the high fructose corn syrup, the trans fats, and the aspartame or the artificial sweeteners are very detrimental for our brain health and our nervous system. So the key is to look at what are we eating on a regular basis. I think that we have a thing called oral amnesia and we have no idea how this is affecting our overall health. I was riding through the park the other day with my wife and I was riding by and this couple was having a nice barbecue and this little 2 or 3 year old was feeding Dorito chips and a Coke to their little puppy. And the mom went crazy on this little kid, screaming at him and saying, "Don't give that to the puppy, it'll make him sick." And I just thought, oh my gosh, what does she think this is doing to her young child? We as human things, we can eat all this stuff, and yet if we feed it to our dog or a cat or a horse, these animals become very sick. We are no different. Our physiology is the same processes. We cannot have these toxins put into our body on a regular basis. So the key is to start to cut down the trans fats, the artificial sweeteners, and the high fructose corn syrup, and add more things like your omega-3 oils, which have the oils. It's very important for overall brain health. Add things that are anti-inflammatory like turmeric, and add more berries in your diet. If you cut down the amount of high fructose corn syrup, aspartame, and hydrogenated oils and started adding more omega-3s, turmeric, and berries on a regular basis, that seesaw starts to go the other way. Our physiology is the way our body responds and how it functions on a regular basis. Our society is actually looking at pathology, meaning dis-ease processes, and trying to throw a drug at it, trying to throw cholesterol-lowering medication when we actually are clogging our arteries because of high fructose corn syrup or trans fats. This is a problem in our society to look at the disease process. With our treatment in our office, we always look at how do we create a better environment for health and healing on a regular basis. So the tip for today is cut down, look at the labels that you're eating. High fructose corn syrup, aspartame, or any type of thing like equal, those are all under the same artificial sweeteners. Anything with an OL at the end is an alcohol, so it's an artificial sweetener. Maltitol, all these things are anything that you see in the beginning. It may not say sugar, but it's an artificial sweetener. And then also the trans fats, hydrogenated oils, partially hydrogenated oils, and looking at adding more things like olive oil and different forms of coconut oil for cooking. That's the way that we actually change our overall brain health. We have an epidemic taking place in our society. In 1980, 1 in 10,000 children had autisms. Now, the most recent, as of 2013, 1 in every 59 boys have some form of autism. There's no rhyme or reason to it, but if we look at the environmental processes, what we're putting into our body, how we're moving our body, is so critical at this point. That leads to early onset of Alzheimer's, and we wonder why kids, more than 1 million kids on a regular basis, are taking Ritalin to reduce their hyperactivity, when if we just start to change their diet and the chemicals that we're putting into our body, add more good foods and get rid of the bad foods, that's how we change the health and healing in our society. So another health and vitality tip from Dr. Bob. I'll see you next time.